After some screening, Su Xiao chose a residence, and in the afternoon of the same day, he arrived at the community where the residence was located. This is a slightly shabby community, located on the edge of the city, but fortunately the transportation is quite convenient. The community seems a bit deserted, with only a few old people sitting around playing chess. This is the case in older communities, where there are mostly elderly people, but the greenery here is good, and it is obviously much better than the polluted air in the city center. From a distance, Su Xiao saw a young man in a suit and leather shoes, as if waiting for something, and occasionally looking at his arm on his wrist. Su Xiao walked forward, and the young man noticed him approaching. His eyes lit up, and he immediately came to greet him. "Hello, is this Mr. Su? I am Xiao Ji, the agent of Sunshine Housing Network." Su Xiao nodded. He used the alias Su at this time. This name has a legal identity, and his ID card and other items are all available. His tickets, phone cards and other items are all purchased with this identity. In today's era, if you don't have a legal identity, it can be said that you can't move an inch. "It's me, take me to see the house." The agent Xiao Ji's attitude immediately became enthusiastic, and he began to introduce the house to Su Xiao. "Mr. Su, to be honest, the monthly rent of 800 is a very cost-effective price. With the current real estate prospects in DL City, if you have sufficient funds, buying this house is also a very good choice." The enthusiastic introduction began, and Su Xiao responded with a smile. He would not buy this place. As a wanted criminal, it was unknown how long he could live here, and he was ready to run away at any time. Although his current strength has skyrocketed and he doesn't care about the police, it does not mean that he can ignore the power of the country. The police only maintain the city's law and order, and the real power of the country is the army. If there's really an army to besiege Su Xiao, he can only choose to avoid it. The army in the real world is different from the mob in the pirate world. The technology in the real world is advanced, and the weapons and equipment of the military are even more advanced. Unless his attributes exceed 30 points, he cannot confront the army head-on. And judging from the attitude of Samsara Paradise does not want the contractors to interfere with the real world. This may be the foundation of Samsara Paradise. According to Su Xiao's previous observations, most contractors should come from the real world, so Samsara Paradise will avoid contractors from interfering with the real world. While Su Xiao was thinking, he had already arrived at the door of the room. "This is it, Mr. Su, please." The agent Xiao Ji opened the door, but his movements were hurried, as if he was in a hurry. "Do you have something urgent to deal with?" Su Xiao looked at the agent Xiao Ji's expression. The other party was not abnormal, but a little anxious. "It's okay, I'm a little urgent to pee, sorry, Mr. Su." Su Xiao walked into the room and saw a spacious living room that had been decorated, and the decoration was pretty good. The warm decoration style was very suitable for long-term residents. Su Xiao looked around the room. The room was well ventilated and facing the sun. All kinds of facilities were also complete. He didn't need to prepare anything and could move in directly with his bag. Knocking on the wall, Su Xiao roughly judged the thickness of the wall. The walls of this kind of old-style community are generally very thick, which means that the sound insulation is better. "Not bad, I rented this place." The agent Xiao Ji showed a happy face. "This is a performance." "Well, Mr. Su, because the price is relatively favorable, the shortest rent here is 1 year. Here is the contract. Please take a look." Su Xiao checked the contract and found no problem. He paid the money and signed, and he officially rented this house. After everything was done, the agent Xiao Ji and Su Xiao said goodbye politely, but the other party's next move was a bit strange. The agent Xiao Ji first opened the door, and after confirming that there was no one in the corridor, he left quickly. This scene fell into Su Xiao's eyes, and he felt that this agent was a bit strange before. Now it seems that there is no problem with this room, but that there are some people living in this building that make this agent afraid. Interesting. Su Xiao chuckled. It was already very strange to encounter a house with a rent of up to 100,000 yuan before, and now, he rented a house in an unusual community. But Su Xiao didn't care about these. He was a wanted criminal himself. Would he be afraid of others? It's a fantasy. Su Xiao sat on the sofa in the living room and suddenly didn't know what to do. He killed the enemy before, and it was the last enemy he could find. And he was now in another place, so revenge could only be postponed temporarily, which was also a helpless move. Although he now has inhuman strength, it does not mean that he can walk sideways. Revenge is not something that can be accomplished in a rush. He has been patient for 3 years, and this period of time is not bad. And Su Xiao believes that as his strength gradually grows, he will have more ways to find enemies. Gradually calming down, Su Xiao began to plan for the future. A stable residence has been found. The next thing is to wait for the call of the Samsara Paradise and improve his strength in the Samsara Paradise. Buzz, buzz. The phone suddenly vibrated. Someone called Su Xiao. He didn't have the habit of using ringtones. Picking up the phone, it showed unknown number. Su Xiao didn't say anything after answering the call. Friend, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Why haven't you come yet? Su Xiao narrowed his eyes. It was the voice of the man who rented 100,000 yuan before. It's too troublesome to rent your house. I'm hanging up. After saying that, Su Xiao pretended to hang up the phone. Wait. The voice on the phone was a little hurried, and Su Xiao's fingers stopped in the air. Friend, we are all working hard in the paradise. How about meeting each other? Su Xiao stood up with a huh. The paradise mentioned by the other party reminded him of the Reincarnation Paradise. Not interested. Su Xiao's voice was flat, but he suddenly felt something was wrong. Why did he make that call before? Although he was not short of money, the rent of 100,000 yuan was too outrageous now. He was not stupid and rich. Thoughts kept turning in his mind. At this moment, Su Xiao realized that there might be something wrong with the rental advertisement. He had actually called the other party before. At that time, he thought that 100,000 yuan was not much, and the quality of the house must be good. But now thinking about it, this couldn't be more outrageous. Hypnosis? No, Su Xiao immediately denied this view. Su Xiao had seen hypnosis before, and it was definitely not so magical. The advertisement was similar to a psychological suggestion. Don't give me face, come to see me immediately, otherwise I will kill you sooner or later. The man on the phone had already begun to threaten nakedly. The wailing of hyenas, the harsh words are said when stepping on the enemy's head, not on the phone. After saying that, Su Xiao hung up the phone, not worried about the other party tracking his location. The phone he is using now costs a lot of money and can block tracking. In a small courtyard at the junction of urban and rural areas, a shirtless strong man sat on a small stool, holding the phone in his hand with a distorted face. Old 5, has the boss tracked the location of this phone call? The sturdy man roared, moving his scarred face. A skinny figure rushed out of a bungalow in a few steps. Boss, the other party is not small, completely anti-tracking, probably a military person. The boss's reply is to give up. The scarred man's eyes became obviously fierce. Give up? Do you know how many paradise coins I spent to get that advertisement? A full 10,000. Those psychology mages are so damn evil. Although the scarred man said so, he had already given up half of his heart. Only the contractor can see that advertisement, and the contractor with an intelligence attribute of more than 20 points can be immune. The other party only called him once, which means that the other party's intelligence attribute should not be low. If the other party is a wizard, the scarred man felt cold in his heart and didn't want to provoke Su Xiao anymore. After Su Xiao signed a contract with the Reincarnation Paradise, the true appearance of the real world began to gradually appear in front of him. Although Samsara Paradise does not support contractors interfering in the real world under the temptation of huge benefits, there are always people who take risks. What they don't know is that there is a kind of existence in Samsara Paradise, called Hunter, who specializes in dealing with them.